Imagine being able to face any situation without being disturbed. Not someday, not after years of practice, but having access right now to a place inside you that nothing can shake. A quiet strength that remains steady, whether you're in the middle of chaos or resting in peace. What if I told you that calm isn't something you need to achieve? That the unshakable mind you're searching for isn't somewhere out there. It's something you remember. 2,500 years ago, a man sat under a tree and discovered this. He had tried everything: pleasure, deprivation, every path imaginable. And what he finally understood changed the course of human wisdom. Not a religion, not a belief system, a map. A practical step-by-step map to peace that doesn't depend on your circumstances being perfect. That map is what I want to share with you today. These aren't abstract concepts. They're techniques that transform how you respond to stress, to adversity, to the unexpected challenges life brings. And they work whether you're in crisis right now or simply seeking something deeper. If it feels right, let me know in the comments where you're listening from. I love knowing you're out there. Find a comfortable position. Let yourself settle. This wisdom has traveled 25 centuries to reach you. It's not going anywhere. Are you ready? Let me start with something that might surprise you about how everything in your life is connected. This morning, you probably did something without thinking about it. Maybe you made coffee or tea. Your hands moved through familiar motions, filling the kettle, measuring grounds or leaves, waiting for water to heat. Steam rose. That first sip touched your lips. Such a simple ritual, so ordinary you barely registered it happening. But let me show you something extraordinary hidden inside that ordinary moment. That cup in your hands contains the entire universe. I know that sounds like poetic exaggeration. Stay with me. Trace it back. Those coffee beans came from somewhere, perhaps Colombia's mountain slopes, maybe Ethiopia's ancient highlands, possibly Vietnam's red earth valleys. A farmer planted seeds in soil enriched by generations of fallen leaves, decomposed matter, minerals dissolved from rocks over millennia. Someone watered those young plants, their hands calloused from years of tending. Rain fell from clouds that formed over oceans thousands of miles away. Water evaporated from tropical seas, carried by winds shaped by the Earth's rotation, by temperature differences between equator and poles, by forces set in motion when the planet first formed 4.5 billion years ago. That rain nourished your coffee plants. Each morning, the sun rose, a star burning 93 million miles away, fusing hydrogen into helium, releasing light that traveled 8 minutes through the vacuum of space to warm those leaves. Photosynthesis transformed starlight into sugars, into growth, into the beans that eventually reached your cup. Human hands picked those ripe cherries, Real people with their own morning rituals, their own families, their own joys and heartbreaks. They sorted the harvest, their fingers moving with practiced efficiency learned over seasons. Others dried the beans under that same sun, turned them regularly, checked for quality. Roasters transformed green beans into aromatic brown. Someone designed the roasting equipment. Someone else manufactured it. Workers assembled the machines. Engineers solved problems that arose. Entire supply chains stretched across continents, ships crossing oceans, trucks rumbling over highways, warehouses storing and distributing. The water you used fell as rain somewhere, filtered through layers of earth and stone, collected in reservoirs built by workers who poured concrete and laid pipes. Engineers designed treatment systems. Pump operators monitored pressure. Infrastructure, maintained by thousands of people you'll never meet, made clean water flow from your tap. Your cup itself, if ceramic, someone dug clay from the earth, shaped it on a wheel or in a mold, glazed it with minerals, fired it in a kiln fueled by gas or electricity generated at power plants. If glass, sand, was melted at temperatures exceeding 2000 degrees. Artists designed the shape. Factory workers produced it. Truck drivers delivered it to stores where cashiers sold it to you with money you earned through your own labor. And you, standing there, able to lift that cup because your parents fed you, because farmers grew that food decades ago when you were young, because the earth provided nutrients, because the sun shone then too. You understand the concept of coffee, the word itself, because someone taught you language, because humans developed complex communication over hundreds of thousands of years of evolution. Nothing in that simple morning ritual exists alone. This is what the Buddha called dependent origination, pratitya samutpada in Sanskrit. Everything arises in connection with everything else. Nothing stands independently. The entire cosmos conspired across time and space to bring you that single sip of warm liquid on an ordinary morning. And understanding this leads us directly to one of the most misunderstood teachings in all of Buddhism: karma. When most people hear the word karma, they imagine cosmic justice, divine scorekeeping. Do something bad, get punished by the universe. Do something good, receive rewards. Like there's some celestial accountant tracking every deed, dispensing consequences according to a moral ledger. But that's not what karma is. The word karma simply means action. It's the natural law of cause and effect playing out through intention and behavior. Not punishment, not reward, just the way reality works. Imagine standing beside a perfectly still lake on a windless morning. The surface mirrors the sky like polished glass. You pick up a smooth stone and toss it in. Ripples spread outward in perfect concentric circles, expanding in every direction, touching the far shore, reflecting back, interfering with each other in complex patterns. Did you create those ripples as a reward for throwing the stone skillfully? Are the ripples punishing you for disturbing the water's stillness? Of course not. They're simply the natural consequence of your action. Stone meets water, physics happens, ripples form. Cause and effect. That's karma in its truest sense. Every thought you think sends ripples through the lake of your mind. Think angry thoughts repeatedly, and anger becomes your mind's default state. Practice gratitude consistently, and appreciation becomes how you naturally see the world. Every word you speak sends ripples through the lives around you. A harsh word can echo in someone's mind for years. A kind word can change the entire trajectory of their day, which affects how they treat others, which ripples further outward. Every action you take creates waves that touch other lives in ways you may never witness. Hold the door for someone rushing behind you. Maybe they arrive at their appointment on time. Maybe that appointment changes their career. Maybe they go home in a better mood and connect with their child. Maybe that child remembers that evening decades later as a turning point. You'll never know, but the ripples spread. And here's what makes this understanding both sobering and liberating: those ripples come back. Not because the universe keeps score, but because everything is connected. Send kindness into the world, and you're creating conditions where kindness returns. Send anger or bitterness, and you're planting seeds of anger, not through magic, through the interconnected nature of existence. The Buddha expressed this with startling clarity. What you think, you become. What you feel, you attract. What you imagine, you create. Let those words settle. Really let them land. This isn't mysticism. It's neuroscience confirmed by ancient wisdom. Spend your days thinking bitter thoughts, and your neural pathways literally rewire toward bitterness. Your brain becomes optimized for finding things to be bitter about. Imagine worst-case scenarios constantly, and you train your nervous system into chronic anxiety. Practice gratitude regularly, and you develop an eye for beauty, for kindness, for reasons to appreciate life. But here's where this teaching becomes genuinely hopeful, genuinely transformative. Your past doesn't own you. Yes, your previous actions have consequences. Yes, you're experiencing results from seeds planted yesterday, last year, perhaps in childhood. Those consequences are real and sometimes difficult. But right now, in this precise moment, you're planting new seeds. Right now, you're making choices. The choice to listen to these teachings rather than scroll mindlessly. The choice to seek wisdom rather than distraction. The choice to grow rather than stagnate. Each choice is karma in action. Each moment is seed planting time. Every moment offers a fresh start. Every breath brings new possibility. Think of one small thing you could shift today. Not something overwhelming, not a complete personality overhaul, just one tiny adjustment. Perhaps pausing 3 seconds before responding when irritation rises in your chest. Maybe actually looking into someone's eyes when they speak, instead of glancing at your phone's dark screen. Possibly saying thank you and letting yourself feel genuine appreciation rather than automatic politeness. Choosing to walk outside for 5 minutes instead of scrolling for 30. These aren't good deeds in some moral sense. They're investments in your own peace. They're you consciously choosing which seeds to plant in the garden of your mind. Because here's the truth that changes everything once you really grasp it. You're not a passive recipient of karma. You're actively creating it every single moment you're alive. Choose patience over anger once, and you've made patience slightly more accessible tomorrow. Your brain has formed new connections, weakened old reactive patterns. Choose kindness when you don't feel particularly kind, and you're literally training yourself in kindness. Choose presence over distraction, and you're strengthening neural networks associated with attention and awareness. The mind is like soil, rich, receptive, ready to grow whatever you plant. Plant thorns, harvest pain. Plant flowers, harvest beauty. And this makes me wonder about what happens when someone keeps planting those seeds day after day, moment after moment, year after year. Where does that path lead? The Buddha had a word for the destination: awakening, bodhi, enlightenment. But those words make it sound distant, don't they? So mystical and unreachable. Like something only monks in remote caves can achieve after decades of extreme meditation practice. Let me show you how close it actually is. Forget everything you've heard about enlightenment. Forget glowing auras and levitation. Forget supernatural powers and transcendent states. Forget the idea of becoming someone special, someone fundamentally different from who you are now. Let me tell you a story about a fish. Imagine a fish born in the ocean depths. From its first moment of existence, water surrounds it completely. Water flows above, below, on every side. The fish swims through water, feeds in water, rests in water, plays in water, lives every moment of its life immersed in water. But here's the remarkable thing. The fish has no concept of water. How could it? Water is so omnipresent, so utterly pervasive, that the fish can't perceive it as something distinct from existence itself. To the fish, water just is. It's like asking you to see air. Yes, intellectually, you know air exists, but do you experience it constantly? Or does it fade into the background of awareness, noticed only when wind blows or breath becomes difficult? Now imagine one day, perhaps through some fortunate accident, perhaps through patient attention, the fish suddenly becomes aware. A shift occurs in consciousness. Suddenly, the fish realizes I'm in water. This whole time, all these years, I've been swimming in water. Water has been here all along. Nothing about the water changed. The ocean didn't transform. Only the fish's awareness shifted. Recognition occurred. That's enlightenment. It's not about becoming something you're not. It's about seeing what's always been true. It's not about achieving some special state of consciousness unavailable to ordinary people. It's about recognizing the reality you've been swimming in since birth. We spend our lives immersed in this present moment, in this field of awareness, but we don't see it. We're so busy thinking about the past, replaying conversations, regretting decisions, analyzing what went wrong, so busy planning the future, worrying about outcomes, imagining scenarios, trying to control what hasn't happened yet. So busy judging, comparing, wanting things to be different than they are. We miss the water we're swimming in. Enlightenment is simply waking up to what is. Not what was last year, not what might be tomorrow, not what should be, according to your preferences. What is right now, in this moment, exactly as it presents itself. And this matters tremendously because most human suffering comes from fighting reality. We think peace will arrive when we arrange our external lives perfectly, when we finally get the right job with the right salary and the right colleagues, when we find the right relationship that fulfills all our needs, when we achieve the right body through the right diet and exercise program, when we accumulate the right amount of money to feel secure, when all conditions finally align just so. But the Buddha discovered something radical, something that overturned conventional wisdom. Suffering doesn't come from our circumstances. It comes from how tightly we grip them. Before enlightenment, before he became the Buddha, he was Prince Siddhartha. He had everything a human being could possibly want. Literally everything. Unimaginable wealth, exquisite pleasures, perfect comfort, unlimited luxury. 3 palaces for different seasons, dancers, musicians, the finest foods. Every desire met before it fully formed. And he was profoundly miserable. So he left, abandoned his comfortable prison. He became an ascetic, a wandering monk, practicing extreme self-denial. He starved himself until his ribs showed through paper-thin skin. He practiced such severe austerities that he nearly died multiple times. He thought perhaps suffering was the path, so he made himself suffer deliberately, intensely. And he discovered that didn't work either. He was suffering about suffering, adding a second layer of pain on top of life's natural difficulties, turning existence into a battle against existence itself. Finally, exhausted from extremes, he sat down under a fig tree and made a simple decision. He would sit there until he understood, not until he achieved something impressive, not until he became someone special or holy, just until he saw clearly what was actually happening. And what he saw was profound in its simplicity. Peace doesn't come from controlling circumstances. It comes from releasing the grip on how things should be. His words echo across 25 centuries. Peace comes from within. Do not seek it without. Pause there for a moment. Really let that land in your body, not just your thinking mind. How much of your life have you spent seeking peace in external things, in achievements that lose their shine weeks after attaining them, in validation from others that never quite fills the emptiness, in getting everything arranged just right, only to watch it fall apart again? And how often has that external peace lasted? Here's the gentle truth, and I offer this with genuine compassion. You're not broken. You don't need fixing. You don't need to become someone different before you can be at peace. You need remembering. Like coming home to a house you never actually left. You've been there the whole time, just looking everywhere else for it, searching the world for something you've carried in your chest since birth. Enlightenment sounds like some distant mountain peak, requiring decades of difficult climbing, but it's more like realizing you're already standing on solid ground. You were just so busy looking up at the peak, so focused on the journey ahead, that you forgot to feel the earth beneath your feet, supporting you right now. And here's a paradox that confuses many people first encountering these teachings. Enlightenment means living without attachment, but it doesn't mean living without love. Love deeply, but release the need to own. Care profoundly while surrendering the illusion of control. Experience joy fully, even knowing, especially knowing, it will eventually pass. Think about watching a sunset. You stand there witnessing its beauty, feeling moved as colors spread across the sky in brilliant streaks. You don't need to own the sunset to appreciate it fully. You don't need to prevent it from changing to enjoy this moment of beauty. You love it completely, while knowing it will fade into night. That knowing doesn't diminish the love, it deepens it. That's what awakening allows. Full engagement with life, without the desperate clinging that turns pleasure into anxiety. But I know what might be arising in your mind right now. This sounds beautiful in theory, perhaps even inspiring. But how do you actually live like that when your mind is always somewhere else? When you're eating breakfast but thinking about emails waiting in your inbox? When you're supposedly listening to someone but already composing your next sentence? When you're walking but completely lost in thought? Arriving without remembering the journey? That's where the practice of presence comes in. And it's simpler than you might imagine. Let me ask you something. Where were you 30 seconds ago? Not physically. Your body was likely in the same position. But where was your attention living? Were you fully here, absorbing these words? Or were you partly here and partly somewhere else, thinking about what you need to do later, replaying something from earlier today, judging whether you agree with what you're hearing, wondering if this is worth your time? Be honest with yourself. There's no wrong answer. I'm simply pointing to something we all experience constantly. We're almost never fully present. We eat while scrolling through phones, tasting nothing. We walk while lost in thought, seeing nothing around us. We talk while planning our next sentence, hearing nothing the other person is actually saying. We go through entire days, entire weeks, sometimes entire years, in a kind of waking sleep, physically present, but mentally absent. Life is happening, and we're missing it. The Buddha taught that our minds resemble lakes. When water is still, you can see all the way to the bottom, every stone, every fish, every detail, perfectly clear. But when wind disturbs the surface, when thoughts and emotions churn the water into turbulence, you can't see anything clearly. Everything becomes murky, distorted, unclear. Most of us live with constantly agitated water, thoughts racing like startled fish, worries spinning in repetitive loops, plans forming and reforming, judgments arising about everything we encounter. The wind of mental activity never stops blowing across the surface. Presence is what happens when the water settles. Not because you forced stillness through effort, but because you stopped adding more wind, stopped stirring the water with constant thinking. And then, clarity arrives naturally. You see things as they actually are, not filtered through your fears and desires and stories about how things should be. You experience life directly, instead of through the screen of constant mental commentary. Now, many people confuse mindfulness with relaxation. They approach it as a technique for feeling calm and peaceful. And yes, calm often comes as a natural byproduct, but that's not the point. Mindfulness isn't about achieving calm, though that frequently occurs. It's about waking up to the life you're already living. It's about being alive while you're alive. And you don't need anything special to practice this. You don't need a meditation cushion, or a quiet room, or perfect conditions. You don't need to wait until your life becomes less busy. Every single moment, exactly as it is, offers a doorway into presence. Your breath, it's always with you, always available. Feel it right now. Cool air entering your nostrils, the slight expansion of your chest or belly, the gentle release as you exhale. That's presence. That's being here. Nothing mystical, just awareness of what's actually happening. The taste of your next meal. Instead of eating while doing 3 other things simultaneously, what if you took one bite with complete attention, really tasted it, felt the texture, noticed how your body responds with satisfaction or aversion? That's not some fancy spiritual practice requiring years of training. That's just being alive to your own life. The touch of fabric on your skin right now. Can you feel it? Your clothes against your shoulders, the chair supporting you, the ground under your feet if you're standing. Most of the time we're so disconnected from our bodies, so lost in thoughts, that we don't notice these sensations. But they're always there, quietly inviting us back to now. Sound in this moment. What do you actually hear? Maybe birds singing outside your window. Maybe traffic humming in the distance. Maybe the sound of your own breathing, your heartbeat. Maybe silence itself, that vast quiet underneath everything. You don't have to do anything with these sounds. Don't have to analyze or judge them. Just notice them existing. That's presence. There's a story I love about a monk washing dishes. A young student, eager for profound teachings, asked him what the secret to enlightenment was. The monk looked up from the sink and said simply, "When you wash the dishes, wash the dishes." The student was confused, probably disappointed. He wanted some elaborate technique, some secret meditation practice, some complex philosophy. But the monk was pointing to the most profound thing there is. When you wash dishes, don't wash them to get them clean so you can move on to the next task. Don't wash them while your mind replays an argument from earlier or rehearses tomorrow's presentation. Just wash the dishes. Feel the warm water flowing over your hands. Notice the slickness of soap bubbles. Hear the gentle clink of plates. Be alive while washing them. That's it. That's the whole practice of presence. That's enlightenment, available in ordinary moments. The Buddha understood this deeply and expressed it with timeless clarity. Listen to his words, as relevant now as they were 2,500 years ago. The secret of health, for both mind and body, is not to mourn for the past, not to worry about the future, but to live the present moment wisely and earnestly. Let that sink in deeply. Not to mourn the past, but how much of your mental energy goes into replaying old conversations, old mistakes, old wounds that can't be changed. Not to worry about the future, but how much anxiety do you generate about things that haven't happened and might never happen? To live the present moment wisely and earnestly, to be here, fully, with whatever is actually occurring, rather than whatever you wish were occurring. That's where your life actually happens. Not in memories, however vivid. Not in plans, however detailed. Right here, right now, in this breath. And the beautiful thing is you can start immediately. You don't need to wait for anything. You don't need to be more prepared, more spiritual, more anything. This moment, exactly as it is, with all its ordinariness, is your opportunity to wake up. Feel the weight of your body right now. Notice your next breath, entering and leaving. That's all it takes to begin this practice. That's all it takes to come home. If you need to pause here, that's absolutely perfect. Let these teachings settle like snow falling on still water. There's no rush to reach anywhere. Or if you're ready, let's continue walking this path together. Because presence opens the door to awakening. But the Buddha left us something even more complete. An actual map with 8 interconnected paths. Not commandments handed down from authority. Not arbitrary rules to follow blindly. Just the way home, discovered through his own profound journey, from suffering to freedom, from confusion to clarity. That's where we're headed next. The Buddha tried everything: luxury that left him empty, starvation that made him weak, and finally, sitting beneath a tree as dawn approached, he understood there must be another way. That other way became known as the middle path, and it's the heart of everything he taught. There's a story about a musical instrument called the veena, something like a sitar with strings stretched across a hollow body. If you tune the strings too loose, they produce no sound at all, just a dull thud when plucked. Tighten them too much, and they snap under the tension. But find that precise point between not too tight, not too loose, and suddenly the instrument sings with perfect resonance. That's the middle way. Not compromise, not settling for mediocrity, precision. And the Buddha mapped out exactly what that precision looks like in 8 interconnected practices. Not commandments carved in stone, not rules to follow blindly, just clear observations about how reality works and how to work with reality instead of against it. These 8 paths weave together like threads in fabric. Pull one, and all the others shift. Practice one, and you strengthen all of them. Let me show you how they live in your daily life. The first path is right view, seeing things as they actually are, rather than through the distorting lens of your desires and fears. Remember that morning coffee we traced back through time and space. Everything in it was changing, transforming, connected to everything else. Right view means recognizing that same impermanence everywhere you look. Your body is changing this very moment. Cells dying, cells being born, nothing static. Your thoughts arise and dissolve like clouds, forming and dispersing. Your relationships evolve whether you want them to or not. Everything flows. Look at a photo of yourself as a child. Is that you? Same name. Yes. But every cell in that small body has been replaced multiple times since then. Every belief you held at 5 years old has likely shifted or vanished entirely. The personality, the memories, the physical form, all transformed. So where is the real you? Right view sees this clearly. There's no fixed, unchanging self at the center. And that's not sad or frightening. It's liberating. When you see things as they truly are, suffering loses its power over you. Because suffering comes from grasping what cannot be held, from demanding permanence in a universe of constant change. Right view releases that impossible demand. From seeing clearly comes the second path. Right intention. This is the decision, the commitment, the turning of your whole being toward peace and wisdom. This isn't just thinking positive thoughts. It's setting a direction for your life and choosing that direction over and over especially when you don't feel like it. It's deciding to respond with compassion, even when anger feels justified. It's choosing generosity when your instinct is to hoard. It's opting for honesty when lying would be easier. Imagine you have a relative who's difficult, critical, demanding, never satisfied. Every visit leaves you drained and frustrated. Right intention is deciding to visit anyway, not out of guilt or obligation, but from a genuine commitment to reduce suffering where you can. Maybe they're lonely. Maybe their criticism comes from their own pain. Right intention sees beyond the surface irritation to the shared humanity underneath. The third path flows naturally from this: right speech. Your words as medicine, rather than poison. A single sentence can create a wound that lasts years. I'm sure you can remember something cutting someone said to you a decade ago, words that still sting when recalled. But equally, a few words can heal deeply. I see you. I understand. You're not alone. The Buddha taught 3 gates for speech. Before you speak, ask yourself, is it true? Is it kind? Is it necessary? If your words can't pass through all 3 gates, perhaps silence is wiser. This doesn't mean becoming passive or dishonest. Sometimes truth is hard. Sometimes kindness means saying difficult things. But right speech avoids gossip, avoids harsh words spoken in anger, avoids empty chatter that fills silence without creating connection. It means speaking with intention and care. Right action, the 4th path, extends this care beyond words into everything you do. Not just avoiding harm, but actively creating healing wherever possible. There's a story about a woman at the grocery store who noticed someone ahead of her counting coins, clearly short of what they needed. She could have looked away, minded her own business. Instead, she quietly handed the cashier enough to cover the difference. Small action, barely noticeable. But that person went home with food instead of shame. Maybe they remembered that kindness when they saw someone else struggling. Ripples spreading outward from one small choice. Right action means living with awareness that every choice matters. How you treat the server who brings your food. Whether you pick up litter you didn't drop. How you respond when someone cuts you off in traffic. Each moment is an opportunity to add a little more kindness or a little more suffering to the world. The 5th path addresses something we often ignore: right livelihood. How you earn your living matters deeply. Does your work create suffering or reduce it? This isn't about judging anyone's profession. A corporate lawyer might practice right livelihood by ensuring justice is served. A weapons manufacturer probably isn't, regardless of skill or dedication. The question is, does this work align with reducing harm and increasing well-being? But even in difficult jobs, in work that feels meaningless or frustrating, right livelihood appears in how you show up. There's a story about a janitor at a hospital who practiced his work as sacred service. He didn't just clean floors, He created healing environments. He smiled at patients shuffling past. He worked with care and presence. His title was janitor, but his practice was that of a bodhisattva, bringing comfort to those in pain. Right Livelihood asks, can you bring consciousness and compassion to your work, whatever it is? The sixth path is right effort, and this one is subtle. It's the difference between trying and forcing, between gentle persistence and exhausting struggle. Think about planting seeds. You place them in good soil, water them, ensure they get sunlight. Then you wait. You don't dig them up daily to check progress. You don't pull on the tiny shoots to make them grow faster. You provide conditions and allow natural processes to unfold. Right effort works this way. You practice consistently without forcing results. You show up daily without demanding immediate transformation. You trust the process. Bamboo grows this way, spending years developing root systems underground before suddenly shooting upward at astonishing speed. From the surface, nothing seems to be happening for years. But underground, foundations are being laid. Then one season, growth becomes visible and rapid. Your practice may feel like that. Days or weeks where nothing seems to change. Then suddenly, you notice you responded with patience where you would have exploded before. The underground work has been happening all along. The seventh path is right mindfulness, coming back to presence again and again. We explored this already, but here's what matters. Mindfulness isn't achieved once and then maintained forever. It's practiced moment by moment by moment. Your mind will wander thousands of times during meditation. That's not failure. That's the practice. Every time you notice the wandering and return to presence, you're strengthening awareness. Every distraction recognized is a small awakening. The monk who meditates for 30 years still experiences mind wandering. The difference is they notice more quickly and return more gently. Meditation isn't a special state reserved for cushions and silence. It's training that prepares you for life. When anger arises in traffic, can you notice it arising before it controls you? When anxiety begins its familiar spiral, can you recognize the pattern before you're lost in it? That's right mindfulness in action. The eighth path completes the circle. Right concentration. One-pointed presence, undivided attention, the power of being fully here for whatever you're doing. This isn't just about sitting meditation, though that certainly develops concentration. It's about bringing complete attention to your child when they tell you about their day. It's about tasting your food fully instead of eating while scrolling. It's about listening to someone without planning your response while they speak. Our world trains us toward constant distraction. Messages pinging, notifications, demanding attention, endless streams of content, fragmenting focus into smaller and smaller shards. Right concentration swims against this current. It says, This moment deserves your full presence. This person in front of you deserves your undivided attention. This task, however simple, deserves to be done with complete awareness. The Buddha expressed the power of this beautifully. Better than 1,000 hollow words is one word that brings peace. Let that settle. One word spoken with full presence, with genuine care, with complete attention, it carries more healing than volumes of empty speech. One action taken with total commitment transforms more than countless half-hearted gestures. This is the power of right concentration. And here's what's remarkable about these 8 paths. They're not separate. Practice right speech, and you naturally strengthen right action. Develop right mindfulness, and right concentration deepens automatically. See with right view, and right intention becomes clearer. They're like roots of a single tree spreading underground. You can't tell where one ends and another begins. Together, they form a complete practice for human life. Not a belief system to adopt, but a way of being to embody. Not rules to follow perfectly, but directions to move toward consistently. But even with this beautiful map, even understanding these 8